Hello, good evening. Tonight on The Probe, the movers and shakers and decision makers in the various newsrooms, both here at the Multimedia Group and elsewhere, will take their turn to analyze the much anticipated and talked about speech by the Vice President and flag bearer of the NPP, Dr Bawumia. It was dubbed Bawumia Speaks. Key questions are whether it was a speech that made his political opponents actually quiver. Are you one of those who feel he's distancing himself from the ills of this particular government? What was your own reaction to the visions outlined by the NPP flag bearer? Also, does he not deserve a chance to prove himself, considering that, in his own words and analogies, only a driver's mate at this point and deserves to be given the driver's seat? Well, we'll take a quick look at some of the highlights of the 73-page speech. First, we know that the first part highlighted key achievements of the administration and then his vision as he aspires to take the driver's seat. Well, the issue about the economic management team and he leading it and whether he had the power to make things change or in fact, bring around a turnaround is one of the issues that came up. Well, he talks about the fact that it was a subcommittee to cabinet and they do not have any decision-making powers. But for him, quote, I am very proud of the quality of advice we have been providing over the years to cabinet. Well, going on to some of the other issues that came up, also he outlines his vision and he says as vice president, he's like a driver's mate we've been talking about, and this has become very topical and most people are bashing him on that. And if you make me president, I will be in the driver's seat. Well, the driver's mate at this point, does he have a say in where the driver goes? Does he tell the driver where to turn and where not to turn? Is some of the issues that have come up. And if you are a bad mate, are you going to be a good driver? Is also one of the key questions that have come up. Well, there were some issues that he outlined in terms of policies. First was very heavy on taxes. He talks about the abolishment of the e-levy, the elimination of VAT on exploration services, no more import duty on solar panels, tax incentives will be provided for film producers and musicians. We've been hearing those in the creatives industry also talking about this, a flat tax of a percentage of income for individuals and SMEs with appropriate exemption thresholds set to protect the poor. Some of the things that he outlines when it comes to taxes, and a tax amnesty up to a certain year to individuals and businesses for failures to file taxes in previous years. Also, there will be no manual or paper filing of taxes from 2024, another step of digitalization, and any audits by GRA will be done electronically and facelessly by GRA. Also goes on to talk about no entity will be audited more than once in 5 years unless anomalies are detected. These are some of the key things he talks about when it comes to reforms in the new tax system he talks about in his vision. Also going on, he talks about the fact that he would not have more than 50 ministers and deputy ministers. How doable is that? These are some of the things that we'll be talking about tonight with the editors and get their take on this. Also, some major policy proposals he made in that vision also. National service will no longer be mandatory. Also starting an individualized credit scoring this year for easy access to credit at lower interest rates. Also the fact that there will be amend Article 87 of the 1992 Constitution and NDBC Act 479 to mandate the alignment of political manifestos to agreed broad contours in specific sectors. Some of the visions that he outlined that day. Also key in education sector, digital technology, STEM, robotics and artificial intelligence will be applied in education. And AI is a part that one of my guests, Raymond Akwa, really likes. So we'll be taking a look at it. Coding and robotics will be made standard in SHS, enhanced focus on TVET education. Also, one student, one laptop policy for tertiary students. Really, these are promises we've had over the period. We promised that we're going to give SHS students a laptop. What exactly has happened to that? Also, Wi-Fi for SHSs, that has not also materialized. Also, 1,000 special education teachers will be recruited. It's also one of the key policies in the education sector he outlines in terms of his vision. Is one of the key things. And also amend the 1992 Constitution with key emphasis on ex gratia, the rights of dual citizens, election of MMDCs and reducing the power of the president, continuation and improvement of free SHS, also one student, one laptop policy for tertiary students through the provision of a zero interest loan is one of the key things he talks about. And finally, also the proposed tax reforms for 2024 that we know about in terms of our agreement with the IMF, revision and expansion of taxes on gambling revenues, also removal of selected VAT exemptions, including the 15% VAT on electricity, which has become very topical. We know Labour threatened to go on an industrial action as a result of that demonstration, massive massive protest, but that has been called off. Also, introduction of the emission tax and the plastic and packaging tax. He has responses to that. For him, he will eliminate the betting tax, also eliminate the VAT on electricity if it's still on the books once he takes over the driver's seat, and elimination of emissions tax, which is also one key tax that is generating a lot of controversy. So these are the key highlights in terms of what Bawumia talks about in terms of his vision if he becomes the driver at some point after the election 2024, and if he takes over in 2025. So these are some of the key issues that we'll be looking at.